Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Melrose High School. Out front, you'll see the portrait of famed scientist Louis Pasteur, who once said, when I approach a child, he inspires in me two sentiments: tenderness for what he is and respect for what he may become. Today, as a community, the City of Melrose affirms once again our commitment to give every child the opportunity through public education to become great. In 2011, the City of Melrose, the Melrose Public Schools, and the Melrose Education Coalition and a group of parents joined together to challenge our community to embrace and focus on STEM education, to engage children and adults of all ages in the mysteries and wonders of science and the satisfaction of solving problems and building everything from a Lego truck to a fully operating robot. Melrose parents, educators, and students embraced this challenge. At the same time, Treasurer Steve Grossman and Governor Patrick challenged the cities and towns of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts with an incredibly aggressive plan to improve STEM educational facilities across Massachusetts through the Science Lab Initiative. The deadlines were incredibly aggressive. The financial commitment by the Commonwealth in localities in difficult times would be a challenge for all. And the timeline to complete the project was a very short 12 months. Treasurer Grossman, in the School Building Assistance Program, using federal stimulus monies, created a program with these incredibly aggressive timeframes because they realize, as we do, that STEM education is the foundation of this state's and this nation's future success. Mr. Treasurer, on behalf of this community, Melrose, we are so proud to say that we are the first city in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to meet the challenge you set before us 2 years ago. An incredible number of people made today possible. From our wonderful Melrose School Committee, represented here today by our chairperson, Kristen Thorpe, Chris Cassatelli, Margaret Driscoll, Carrie Cucamelis. Our incredible Board of Aldermen, represented by our president, William Forbes, Mary Beth McAteer Margolis, Jackie Lavender Bird, John Tremontozzi, Monica Medeiros, and Peter Mortimer. Our outstanding State Representative Paul Broder and outstanding State Senator Catherine Clark all work together with my office to fund and implement this plan. Behind all of this is one of the best planning departments in Massachusetts, led by Denise Gaffey, who brought this project in like every one before it, before deadline and under budget. Where's Denise? To an incredible building committee, chaired for the last 10 years by John McLaughlin, has managed over $100 million worth of school projects in this city, and I would like to recognize them. Our chair, John McLaughlin, Cindy Tamor, our superintendent, school committee member Chris Cassatelli, Alderwoman Monica Medeiros, Greg Alloy, Joe Nevin Jr., Julie Shea, Mike Lindstrom, Principal Marianne Farrell, John Shenna, and of course, Denise Gaffey. It has been incredible to work with two outstanding superintendents, our current superintendent leader, Cindy Tamor. But we also want to welcome back, at the initial start of this project, our retired superintendent. Welcome home, Joe Casey. But most importantly, today's success is the success of students, teachers, and administrators in this building, who were part of the design and the planning, and who, just as importantly, picked up their tables, their desks, their learning environments, and moved to every nook and cranny in this school to make this project successful. Teachers of all subjects, secretaries, custodial staff, support staff, endured countless fake fire drills, noise and dust, with the hopes that their sacrifices would, in the end, make this school a better place for young adults to learn and flourish. Well, Melrose High School today is a better place for young adults to learn and flourish, and for teachers to teach and inspire because of your sacrifices, and we thank every one of you. Without sound professional contractors and managers, this project would not have been successful, and we had amongst the best in the business. I'd like to recognize our architects from AI3, Greg Olson and Scott Dunlap. Great job, guys. Outstanding job. Great project managers, Marty Goulet and Joe Naughton and Chris Stevenson of Collaborative Partners managed this incredibly. Also, we had some of the best general contractors I think I've worked with in 12 years. Bob Morrell, Dan Allward, and Dave Willett of G&R Construction. Thank you guys for your incredible work. In closing, this is a true partnership between state and local government. With over 50% of the funding coming from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts School Building Assistance Program and 50% coming from the taxpayers of our city, we have received incredible support from our Treasurer's Office, as well as the enthusiasm and support of countless citizens that I have spoken with over the last year, whose children are too young to attend Melrose High School, and just as many parents whose children graduated years ago. They are all committed to forward progress in our schools and to achieve the greatest of American goals, which is to ensure that we leave the next generation a better community than we found it. So, on behalf of the citizens of Melrose, I thank the School Building Assistance Program, and I thank personally our treasurer, who's here today to christen the first Science Lab initiative in the Commonwealth. My friend, the treasurer of the Commonwealth, Steve Grossman.
So I could not be more delighted than to be here. I'll never forget, back in 2009, Rob and I have been dear friends for a long time, and I came over and he took me for a walk through the middle school, and he said, I want you to see something. He took me up to the roof, showed me the solar panels, and he said, this is a pioneering venture. We're the first school in this Commonwealth to be a green school, to be built as a green school. And I learned from the superintendent, from others, from Julie, that you've got a new solar farm being built right on the top of this building as we speak, with more science and innovation projects going on. This is a city of pioneers, of pioneering leaders. Mayor, leaders at the council level, parents, teachers, and just citizens who care deeply about this city and who are willing to invest again and again and again to make Melrose one of the great cities in this Commonwealth. And speaking of great, there is not a more innovative, more imaginative mayor in this Commonwealth. Rob Dolan, again and again and again, whether as mayor of this city or whether as head of the Mass Mayors Association, continues to think in bold, innovative, imaginative ways about ways to make the life experience of the children of this city as imaginative and as successful as it possibly can. And Rob, I think and why should that be a surprise? Because Rob is a product of the of the Melrose Public Schools. Just want to see everybody who's listening. In fact, when I walked through the school, the middle school, on that day in 2009, we walked into a couple of buildings and a couple of offices, and there I had the opportunity to meet some of your teachers. Are any of Rob Dolan's teachers here today by any chance?
They're all long gone now.
What? Back there?
Oh, Mr. Brown! Hey! And he looks better than me. Fine.
As a matter of fact, since I'm married to Barbara Grossman, who teaches at Tufts University, but who started her career in public education, teaching 7th and 8th grade English, and went on to be a theater historian, I want to ask every person in this room who has ever or who continues to teach, if you're sitting, I'd like you to stand, and if you're standing, I'd like you to raise your hand. I'd like to honor the teachers of this great city at this particular moment. All of you, please. Because as we know, great education is really about three things, and we're going to hear from our Commonwealth Secretary of Education in just a few minutes. And the fact that he is here at this wonderful event to talk about this innovative program and what it means to the kids of this Commonwealth speaks volumes about the respect that leadership at every level have for the city of Melrose and what you've done and again and again and again to be pioneers. Let me put this just a little context. The Mass School Building Authority was created by the legislature less than 10 years ago. The process by which we built and renovated public schools was irrevocably broken, and everybody knew it. And the legislature said, we're going to come up with a different vehicle. We're going to watch every dime of taxpayers' money. We're going to create an authority, which is now, by the time we get through the middle of this fall, will have sent $10 billion of state taxpayers' money back to cities and towns all over this Commonwealth. That doesn't even include the money that comes from the taxpayers of Melrose and every other community. They created the Mass School Building Authority to build and renovate. You're going to hear from Barbara Hansberry, who's the Deputy Executive Director, and she'll put this particular project in some context. 2004, it was created. And then the recession hit. And a lot of people have been critical of stimulus money. You've read about it, you've heard about it on radio, in the newspapers. But stimulus money was an enormous benefit and value to the people of this Commonwealth. And no organization more so than the Mass School Building Authority, which, by the way, is funded by 1 penny of the sales tax. Every time you pay a 6.25% sales tax on a taxable product, 1 penny is put into a fund. This year, a little over $700 million, and that's the money we use to build and renovate public schools. But back when the recession hit, the federal government said, the Congress said, we are going to make money available to commonwealths like Massachusetts, to states like Massachusetts, to build and renovate schools. They allowed us, the School Building Authority, to borrow $300 million with zero interest for 17 years. We took that money, we decided to go and create a green repair program. New roofs, new boilers, new windows, all across the Commonwealth. Why? Because we thought we could be more energy efficient. Governor's got a magnificent program in 700 projects all over the Commonwealth to save the taxpayers $43 million and to reduce our energy costs by 20 to 25%. Those are projects all over the state. But this particular program was all about roofs, boilers, and windows. We did 169 projects all over the state. But because the bids came in so competitively, below what we had estimated they would come in at, we only spent about $225 million of that $300 million. And then we began to think, what could we do to do something truly innovative that's going to matter enormously to a state that is going to rise and fall based on the success of the innovation economy? Science, math, engineering, and technology. So we went out competitively, we invited every high school in the Commonwealth to compete, to come in and say, we need new science labs, and we'd like you to be our partner. First to apply, first to finish, first city to finish, as Melrose has always been a pioneer and a leader. And this project is the result of that, along with a number of other projects that Barbara will talk about in a little more detail. This is a big, big deal. This is a big deal to the kids of this city. This is a big deal to the Commonwealth. The fact that it's been done so well, been executed so professionally, come in earlier than we had expected, and the results of it, you look around. For those, how many of you are products of the Melrose Public Schools and who studied science here in Melrose? Raise your hand. I won't ask the question because I know the answer. If you think about and close your eyes and think about those little science rooms where it was so dark in those science rooms that you practically fell over the benches getting back to your seat. If you think about that and you look around this room now, and you think about the new science standards that we have incorporated into every public school that builds new schools or science labs, we are giving our kids the best tools and technology that money can buy. Technology and the facilities only matter if you've got great teachers. Teachers are the backbone of what we're all about. It's why we're number one. It's why we are number one. And the Secretary will talk about why we're number one and how we're going to stay number one. We're going to stay number one because of the motivation that we have. So I'm honored to be here. We're honored to be your partner. This city has done great things. And once again, Rob, I just want to say to you, you had a vision. You shared that vision with your colleagues. You listened carefully, as great political leaders do, to the smart, savvy people who are on your team. And together, by working together as a team, problems are solved in the 21st century by working as teams. No longer individuals in silos. This is all about teamwork. And this city is flourishing, growing, developing, and reaching its full potential every day. And I look forward to being with you at the Victorian Fair coming up in just a few weeks. It is doing that because you have a great mayor and a great leadership team of elected and volunteers who every day get up in the morning and in an energetic, optimistic way say yes to the future. This morning is about the future. It's about an investment in the future, and I think we're all privileged. I know I'm privileged to be here. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. I got to tell you, I love Secretary of Education Matt Malone. I love this guy. Let me tell you why. I have worked with a number of secretaries in various capacities, and you know, when you hear him talk, you're gonna get what I'm about to say. I've worked with several different governors. This is my fourth governor, I think, and secretaries of different branches. Some are incredible theorists, and that's okay in their own right. But what makes Matt Malone different, although he has an incredible educational background, is that he is from the classroom. He is from the heart and soul of schools, which are administrative offices, the type of things you can't learn in a textbook, the type of things that make education great by seeing education from the eyes of a true teacher with 25, in some cases 30 kids in front of you. He was the superintendent of schools in Swampscott, Mass, and then became the superintendent of schools in the 4th largest district in the state at Brockton. And I thank the governor for appointing him Secretary of Education, because he is exactly the type of leader we need, our Secretary Matt Malone.
So you heard the joke about why the governor hired me, right? I make him stand tall, I make him look tall in press conferences. And that's what he said over there when he said why he likes me. What kind of respect is that? It's an honor to be here, and from our governor, I bring you a warm welcome and a thank you. A thank you to all of your elected, both state level and local delegation, the officials that allow this innovation to occur, this teamwork that the Treasurer talked about. When we think about STEM, it's the one place where actual teamwork is across the board. Public, private, higher ed, K-12, early childhood. It's the one place where everyone is truly right now working together. Why? Because at the end of all the theory, it comes down to that powerful interaction in the classroom between adult and a child. For this guy right here, and what is he going to be able to do as he progresses through the system? It's about space. And sometimes we don't think about it. I'm not talking about outer space, although I'll mention that in a second. But it's about space and how we shape our space to meet the needs of kids through rigorous instructional programs, such as what we have here in Melrose now, this biotechnology pathway. It's going to put young people in the jobs. This innovation economy that is mentioned, it's what it's all about. Life sciences, biotech, STEM. And let's include an A in there and make it STEAM, because arts are intricately as important. Think about the practical application of STEM is design. So arts folks get involved. That's that cross-cultural collaboration that we've been talking about. Over the past 2 weeks, I've traveled the state with Congressman Joe Kennedy, who is the new head of our STEM council in the state. And when we've gone out and we've seen what our best practice is, and we've seen the innovation that's happening across our schools, this town, this community is on that list of places that are trendsetters, places that are trailblazing. Why? They figured out a methodology to get folks, teachers, the most important people who do this work, to work together to focus on real-world practical application of content. It's called hands-on learning, people. It's about what turns kids on. And we talk about closing gaps and increasing opportunity. Now, we can't do that without places like this, about systems and parents and taxpayers who made the hard decision to say, you know, I got it my way and I'm doing all right. But these kids that are coming up behind me, they need better than what I had. They need space that will allow them to explore. They need space that will allow them to tinker with technology, to do the hands-on things that we know will improve student achievement. Now, Massachusetts is leading the nation. Yesterday we announced we have the highest ACT scores in the country, and we're doing great work. But there is so much more we can do, because we're about closing achievement gaps. And there are gaps that exist even in this community. But because of your superintendent, because of your principal, because of your team of teachers, you guys are focused on those very important gaps. And you know one strategy to get to closing gaps is through practical, hands-on, rigorous educational experience and working with the partners in the state who get this. The space affords you the opportunity to do that. I'm very excited to be here today. I'm very excited to meet with the good people who have made these hard decisions to sacrifice, to pay a little more, to do the right thing for their children. We got two of them sitting right here. We got two of them sitting right here. That's what we don't forget when we do this work. This town gets that. Thank you, and I look forward to talking to you.
If you look at the Lincoln, the Roosevelt, this high school, and of course the middle school, Melrose, for a city of its size and scope, has been the benefit of an incredible amount of investment from the School Building Assistance Program. Never before have we seen an SBA program run by Jack McCarthy and our treasurer been at the forefront to working with cities and towns and understanding our concerns. Certainly with the level of accountability unlike any other state entity that I have worked with. Barbara Hansberry is the Deputy Executive Director of the School Building Authority. For 18 years, she was the General Counsel for the Inspector General's Office, where she was responsible for all legal aspects of investigating and reporting fraud, waste, and abuse in government, which after I read her initial resume, I got a little nervous. But that is exactly the type of person we need running this billion-dollar operation when all is said and done. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the School Building Authority, Barbara Hansberry.
Thank you, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here today. Just so you know, I'm new at the MSBA, and I came on board in March at exactly the same time that this project took off. And it is incredible to me that in these short few months that it can be designed from soup to nuts and be open for school to begin in September. So I am very, very proud to stand before you knowing that this is what my new agency can do for the communities of Massachusetts. The mission of the School Building Authority is to do just this. And we bring and we strive to bring these types of results, which are done with transparency and integrity. And I know for a fact that this legislative delegation was committed and worked very closely and very hard to bring this project to fruition. I know that the construction team, the contractor, the OPM firm, and the wonderful architectural firm worked very hard, and all of a sudden, when everybody starts putting their boots to the task, look what can happen in 5 short months from completely ready to roll next week when school begins. And so it brings me great pleasure to be a part of this type of mission and experience in Massachusetts with the, delegation of leaders that we have to work together. And for these students, I come from a municipality in Massachusetts that hasn't done yet a school project, and I am my rising junior. I am so jealous to know the type of science lab for his AP Bio that he's walking into, compared to what you all in Melrose have got. So we're going to move forward as an agency to make sure that this type of experience is fairly distributed across the state. And I want to thank our MSBA staff. Katie Loeffler's here with me today. She was the head of the Science Lab Initiative at the MSBA, and Carl Brown, the architect on staff, and Joe Giorgio. Maybe these names are familiar to those Melrose people who worked so hard together with our team, and to bring this. I'm looking forward to seeing the other 8 labs. So thank you very, very much, everybody.
It's hard to believe that our superintendent, Cindy Tamer, has only been here for 1 year. In 1 year, with strength and dignity, she has put together a new administrative team. She has worked with our union and teachers to agree upon and begin to implement one of the more challenging professional evaluation tools that the state has ever seen. And in her part-time, she made sure this project went fine every day. As a mayor, there's no one more that you spend time with than a superintendent of schools. And there's no one professionally that I'd rather spend more time with than our superintendent, Cindy Tamer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Treasurer, Mr. Secretary, honored guests, members of the Melrose community. This is just one of the best days in an educator's life. I brag about this space all the time, but I need to give you a little background on it. As the mayor mentioned, I just completed my first year. I was appointed in March of 2013, and in the 12 weeks in between my appointment and starting, I worked with Joe Casey and the mayor to learn about Melrose. And both of them casually said, oh, we're going to get the science lab project. No, nothing else. I have been involved with building projects before. I was used to the old MSBA. I'm thinking, maybe my second year, maybe my third year. Then I got an email from Denise Gaffey. How soon can you meet? Within days of starting in July, I had to pull together my administrative team, which at that point consisted of myself, Days New, Mary Ann Farrell, interim, Steve Fogarty, interim, Bob Savarino, who we pulled out of retirement, and Julie Shea, who had been on the job 1 year, and we had to devise a plan to pilot this project without disrupting our children. And that was always my priority. I think poor Craig Olson from AI3 got tired of me saying it. Where I got very, very lucky was with the rest of the team. The mayor has mentioned many of them. Denise Gaffey, of course, is, I can't begin to tell you, probably one of the best planners I've ever met. The school. The school building committee with John and Joe and Greg and the other members. George Peso's there for the technology piece. John Shenna, God knows I made him and the DPW crazy, move this, move that, give me 3 guys, it has to be done by Friday. And then the project manager and the clerk of the works, Marty Goulet, Chris Stevenson. I cannot tell you how many times I said to my secretary, find me Chris. And he would be there in an instant to talk to me and resolve whatever I was not happy with, including the color of the walls. So these are the people who really made this possible. I brought very little to the table. I also need to tell you that Julie Shea drove this project. While I started my career as a science teacher, my experience as a science teacher many years ago reflects nothing that you're seeing in front of you today that we do with children. This really is a different generation of teaching. It's a different way to teach. We will have children who can leave here and have jobs in the biotech industry. In case you are unaware of it, Massachusetts biotech industry hires skilled workers without college degrees who probably make more money than we do. So this is truly a pathway for many of our students. And to put it in context for you, let me just tell you a little story that happened just Monday. I wandered down here like I do every day to sneak around and make sure everything is what it should be. And I was looking at a piece of equipment that was being installed. And the workman came over to me and he said, "Are you a teacher here?" And I said, "No, I'm the superintendent." He said, "I need to congratulate you. This is probably one of the finest science labs I've ever seen." And then he went on to tell me he put his son-in-law through college, and the son-in-law is now a physicist. He said his labs in college were nothing like you have for your kids here in Melrose. So for that, I thank the City of Melrose, I thank all the support I had during the project, and I thank the state. Thank you very much.
Only a few more. Let's be honest. Those that live here, although we're talking so glowingly today, Melrose High School has had a difficult run. We've gone through 3 principals. We've had some instability. Although every day our teachers come here every day and give our students everything that they need, there certainly has been a perception regarding stability in this building and leadership. Those days are over. Those days are over. We had a lot of interims, but those interims have turned out to be incredible administrators. Mr. Merrill, we just hired from Saugus. Stephen Fogarty, who's a classmate of mine, who's now the assistant principal. And a woman who worked quietly, doing her job every day, running a building as a loyal and incredibly experienced and professional assistant principal. She earned the opportunity to prove herself, and not only did she prove herself, she proved herself beyond all of our expectations. We have a solid administrative team for the long haul in this building, and she is the capital P principal of Melrose High School, hopefully for many years to come. Our principal, Mary Ann Farrell.
Thank you, Rob, for those kind words. It is, as everyone said, the greatest day that I can think of in Melrose High School. Probably the best thing that's come out of this past year is the teamwork that has been mentioned. And yes, it has been an awful lot of outside agencies that have come in and worked with us, but this project has brought this school together, staff and students, doing whatever it took to make it happen. People were here on weekends, helping to get things ready so that we could move in the middle of the year, right after midterms, and not have any disruption to the students. Students were here just this past week, helping us bring in the computers and get things installed. This is an exciting time for us, and I'm assured that going forward we have more projects that we're going to work on, and all of those will also create the best environment for our children. And I thank everybody involved in the project, and I'm looking forward to the future projects we can do that will be an extension of this. So thank you.
In 2003, a man who I did not know, I happened to be paired with him at a golf tournament, said to me, "What the hell are we going to do about this middle school?" the city was fighting over how to how to rebuild or renovate a building that didn't have hot water, that flooded with raw sewage, and was really a disgrace to the community. He said, let's fill a building committee, and I'll be the chair, and we'll build schools and make life better for kids. Many people followed suit. I named a few of them, but I want to name one person who, as an architect, specializes in interiors. And if you enjoy the interior of the middle school, the football stadium that we built, and the baseball stadium in this building, the person to thank outside of our professionals is Joe Nevin. He's right there. But they're not uncommon. We have an energy commission that worked tirelessly for no money, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of consulting hours. These people are professionals. We're now implementing a $2.6 million ESCO to save energy costs and to renovate a lot of the infrastructure of our buildings with Martha Grover. Well, that's what Melrose does. And the chair of this committee, and they've been together for so long. That's why I'm confident we're going to take this on, then we're going to go to the resource center, and then we're going to talk about some of the other areas of the building, and we're going to transform this building like Fenway Park. Every time you go into Fenway Park, you see something better every year. That's what we're going to do here. And we're going to make this whole building look just like this. And hopefully he can stay on as chairperson because he's a full-time employee when it comes to working with Denise. And it's the chairman of that committee, John McLaughlin.
So I'm involved with this process because of the kids. And when Rob and I first got together at a golf tournament 10 years ago, people in the community weren't fighting for the kids at that time the way that they should have. And that's what this has been about. And I think that when you look at the people that are out here and the people in the community that show up every day to teach these kids, they needed the community support. So over the last 10 years now, we have had a great partnership with the teachers and the administration, really the Dolan administration, and we have worked tirelessly to upgrade the infrastructure in the city for the families and the kids of Melrose. And you see it when you go out now. The kids are a little sharper, the teams are a little bit better, they're a little more proud. It's really all come together, and this science lab has been the latest addition to the work that we've been able to get done. And that was not happening in Melrose in the 1990s, and the city was slipping. And the Dolan administration's work and the work with the aldermen and the school committee has really, really made a difference. And you can see it in Melrose now. There's new families moving in. There are people that I walk downtown and take a look at that I don't know who they are. That's a good thing, because the young people are moving into this community because it's a great place to be. So that's why we're in it. That's why Joe Nevin's in it. And I think that that's why a lot of the people work as hard as they do on these projects. With that said, this particular science project has been fantastic. And unless you've been involved with one, the degree of difficulty to get these things done is unbelievable. You know, like there's always something. There's always somebody who disagrees, or there's an issue with the contract, or there's an issue with the funding or the financing. And I get to sit up here and speak today, but on all the projects we've done over the last 10 or 12 years, for me this was the easiest. When I know there's a problem, when I get a phone call, and for 6 months now, this thing has run so smooth that it's been, for me anyway, the easiest project we've had in 12 years, and it's due entirely to Denise Gaffey and Julie Shea, who were just phenomenal through this process. And they worked with AI3 and Collaborative Partners, who we were skeptical to begin with because we're used to working with our team that we've had for 10 years, and those guys were unbelievable. So as you look around this space, the Collaborative Partners, the general contractor GNR, AI3, and Denise and Julie really, really deserve everybody's respect and applause here because they were awesome. So thank you very much. That's it for me. Hopefully the kids will have a great year this year in the classroom and on the field and enjoy the science space. Thank you.
So this is it, the grand finale. We built this facility for kids in Julie Shea. And what I mean by Julie Shea and all the people that work for her. When I first met Julie, I said when I left to the superintendent, and take this the right way, is she for real? But she couldn't be any more for real. She loves science, she loves kids, and I think if there was anyone born to be an educator or a teacher, it's Julie Shea, and this is Julie Shea's house.
Welcome to our science labs. The Science, Technology, Engineering, and Business Department would like to express its appreciation to the City of Melrose and to the State of Massachusetts for their generous support that made this project possible. As you heard, many people were instrumental. Many people were instrumental. But I want to talk about what this really means. What does this mean? Why did we do that? But before I do that, I want to mention one thing. You'll hear a lot about our science, technology, engineering, and business teachers who really do incredible work every day for our students. But I also need to acknowledge the dedication of our colleagues in this building who, first of all, are amazing teachers, but also they supported us and, at times, maybe a little bit often, were inconvenienced during this transition period. And they handled it with professionalism, with a sense of humor, and sometimes just a shake of the head. So let's talk a little bit about what this means for science education. I don't think I can convey the excitement that all of us share in beginning to teach in this new space. No longer will several teachers need to share a single lab space. Students won't be squeezed into a tiny classroom, and if you think of the open concept school, the negotiation of the light switch between two adjoining classrooms won't be a problem anymore. Next week, we begin our teaching of science, technology, and engineering in state-of-the-art lab facilities. Every classroom will function as both a classroom and a lab. The use of technology in terms of computers and lab probeware will modernize our science classrooms. This is a really important shift as we begin our work to meet the needs of the scientific and engineering practices of the draft science standards. In the future, I envision biotechnology courses will be incorporated into our curriculum. A couple of our teachers have a whole plan on talking about agri-farming and bioethics and also linking all these important concepts that you hear about in the news, but actually being able to do things in the classroom. And all of this is possible because we now have the appropriate tools to support this. It's great to hear a teacher talking, and it's so much better to be able to do and to experience things. Our dedicated teachers will have the tools to be able to instruct 21st century learners. These renovations will strengthen our efforts to develop the necessary skills so that all of our students are college and career ready. Yes, students will be asking questions and defining problems, planning and carrying out investigations, using data to engage in argument from evidence, and many other scientific practices. But they will also be reinforcing the mathematical practices taught by our colleagues in the math department. They will use appropriate tools such as spreadsheets, lab probeware, and computers as they collect and interpret data. They will reason abstractly and quantitatively. We will join with our English language arts, foreign language, and social studies colleagues as the students use technology to conduct research, to present their findings, and to enhance their reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills. Students will have the equipment and resources to see the connections between all of these different fields. All of our students are going to benefit from these experiences. In addition, students in our recently developed STEM pathway who have expressed a strong interest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics will be able to experience authentic lab practices that will help prepare them for college science courses. Our STEM pathway students have participated in community service by hosting a career night and volunteering at math nights, elementary science fairs, and robotics events. They will be tour guides on September 7th for the public open house. The next step in our program is to connect them with biotech companies and engineering companies, and they'll be so much more marketable because they will have those skills. The skills that they'll be able to develop in this space, which is incredibly exciting. Of the greatest importance, the community has given a two-part message to our students. And I think this really might be the most important thing. One, education is important, and we will fund improvements to enhance your educational experiences. And two, when people work collaboratively, improvements can happen in a short period of time. Again, thank you to everyone who has played a part in this. Thank you for your dedication and your commitment to our students, to the children of Melrose.
I'm qualified to grade speeches, A+. 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 All right. So I hope you can stick around. We are going to do a ribbon cutting, a little different than I think most ribbon cuttings you'll see. And we hope that you'll join Julie and some of her staff and students for a tour of the facility. We'll be here as long as you need us to be. But I'd like to invite the people who we built this building for to cut the ribbon. Alec and Andrea, do you want to help? And some high school students. But I'd like Secretary Malone and Mr. Treasurer to join our outstanding staff who will be utilizing this every day to make our children's experience here better. Suzanne Troy, Jessica Fortin, Kerry Scott, Brittany Martin, Nancy Naslis, Ben Gerard, Anthony DiBenedetto, Sue McBride, Betsy Giovanardi, and Jeff Robinson. They could be here. All right, we're going to do a big 1, 2, 3, and you guys are going to cut. You guys ready to roll? Everyone got scissors? Ready? All right. 1, look up, don't look at the ribbon. 2, 3. Thank you everyone for coming. We're going to do, Julie, how do you want to do the tour?